All right. For anyone unfamiliar with teasers, it's when you get an allotted extra amount of points to parlay two or more bets with. The standard is a two-team 6-point teaser, which means an 8-point favorite would become a 2-point favorite, and a 2-point underdog would become an 8-point underdog. Stuck has a lot of great content explaining how to approach teasers, what numbers you want to tease through. If you just Google Stucky teasers, all of it will pop up. So be sure to do that and check that out. Stuck, what are you doing this week?
Let's tease. Yeah, ideally you want to tease through 3 and 7. With lower total the better. So we'll do 2 here. We're gonna go to Raiders up over 8. Which I talked about before. Low scoring game. Every Broncos game is the same script. I literally joke about it every single Sunday. I send a tweet, and it's just a replay every week. But happy to take 8.5 there. Then let's tease the Bills down to blow a field goal. Lost 2 straight. I think there might be some heavy winds here and some snow. Allen, as he showed last year, I should say, and his arm looked fine, good enough last week. But last year, in like 35-mile-an-hour winds, he was still firing the ball all over. So I think that his legs too will be important here. I do worry a bit about the Bills' run defense against the Browns, but I think the Bills will find a way to win this game. By the way, for speaking of potential totals, Snover. So I always think about Snovers. This could be a lot of snow, and I always snow games in the NFL. The over is hit 70% of the time historically. Now that's if you remove wind, 15%, 15-mile-an-hour winds or above. Just going back to 1970. What is a snover? People are like, should we bet the over now? No. First of all, you don't know if it's going to be a snover until about an hour or 2 before kick. And the reason is you have to check the wind, because the wind is too high, then it's just going to negate any advantage that you can get with the sun. I'll get into that in a second. Number 2, you have to wait till the total bottoms out. Everyone wants to bet the under in these games. You're already seeing tweets, 90% of bets, the biggest bet of the weekend is the under. Everyone's tweeting about it, even casual non-bettors. Under is going to be a blizzard. You also have to make sure that the snow isn't too much. Like, you can't have 2 feet, you can't have a foot with like a blizzard, because then no one can see, no one can move, and everyone plays so slow because you're drying off the ball, and you're drying off your hands. No one can talk, communicate. The game grinds to a halt. But if it's not too bad and there's like snow on the ground and it's snowing a little bit, the best example of this is when Brady threw like 8 touchdowns. I think they beat the Titans like 5th, or it was
like 58-7 or something like that. I remember that game.
58-7, yeah.
Something.
The offense has, and he talked about this on that documentary with Charles Woodson. He pointed in that snow game with the Raiders and said, the offense has such a big advantage here. They know where they're going. Cutting, you think about LaShawn McCoy, like one of the best cutting backs of all time. There's games with him in the snow.
Bro, I was just rewatching that game, the snow game, them versus the Lions, when McCoy just went absolutely bonkers. And what's crazy was, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say, you're a defender. Like, you don't know, first of all, there's a cornerback. You don't know where the receiver's going. You have no footing. If a running back cuts on you, you're lost. And the advantage of knowing where you're going on offense is massive if the conditions are right. And by the way, in this game, also, like, Nick Chubb cutting and running in the right conditions, and the wind, the Browns should run wild, and the wind won't really affect Allen. Those receivers will get open. He'll get them the ball. So yeah, and you just want to wait till the total bottoms out, and like that's when we'll hit the snover. So it would have been my total if like the game started in 2 hours. I could see the conditions, but that's the formula for the snover. You got to make sure the wind isn't too bad. I don't think it's that big of a factor in this game. You also have to make sure it's not too much snow and the conditions aren't where you can't see and it's just a complete blizzard, because then everything grinds to a halt. No one can move. Not even the offensive players are so slow. You need like the perfect, no, not necessarily the perfect, but pretty good conditions, like certain conditions, I should say, for the snover. So follow on the action app, and we'll try to time it right. If the conditions are right, we got to wait till Sunday. But what were you saying about McCoy?
Oh, no, I was just saying, like, I actually had the, like, pretty much everyone in that game. I think it was to like either make the fantasy playoffs or like advance, and they had done nothing at halftime. And I had like Foles, McCoy. I just remember having like the second half of my life, so I was just rewatching it, reminiscing. But I think that's a great point about the kind of how to look at these snow games. So let me ask you a follow up because I'm sure our listeners are kind of wondering. Let's say you have a total, let's say 43 is the real total absent of any weather in this game. Now, let's say there is going to be like non-snover snow, like actually hindering snow. How much are you adjusting your number? AKA, how should people know, if they are looking to bet an under, how much is too much to go? How
Yeah,
low is too
it's
low?
really it's I mean it's all manual, like kind of intuition, and there's not like a formula. The sample size isn't great. It depends on the matchup, what the teams want to do, and then it depends where the total sits, how much it has come down. But I will tell you, like if the game is where it's a complete let's just take this game for an example. If this game, if there's like a 18 inches of snow, and they'll try to clear it beforehand, but it's just coming down nonstop, and you can't see anything, and there's wind, and that means like, and the ball's getting clumped with snow, and you can't you can't really move that much. There are certain times, it's very rare. Like you think about that McCoy game, there's a lot of snow on the ground still. You can NFL players can still get around, but if it was, if it's real bad, you might see one of these games every couple of years. Then I would drop this total to like 37 and a half. In the extreme of extreme conditions, which rarely happens. Like the NFL field management is good. Like you have to have it being like peak blizzard while the game's going on with a lot of winds. But because if that occurs, then no one can communicate, no one can move, and it takes forever like everyone is now snapping the ball 1 second on the game clock every time. Like just you're wiping the ball if you're trying to communicate, you're trying to figure out what the hell is going on. It takes everyone so much longer to do anything. And then obviously you just can't throw it, and when the conditions are that bad, and everyone's just loading the box and then just running into each other. Like the games, without turnovers, the game would end like this game would end like in most NFL games, it'd end like 17-13 without like turnovers.
Yeah. And the kicking, they might
Can't
forego
kick.
they might forego field goal attempts. I remember the
Yeah.
Browns played a game, I think it was
Remember
a
the
year or
Bills
two
game in that
ago.
win last year? That wasn't even snow. They wouldn't even
Yeah,
kick
that
like
was
a
just
30
wind.
yarder.
Yeah. For my teaser, I'm going with the Raiders as well. There's just not many options to tease up over, 8 in this one. So on the slate. So I'm going Raiders. I already talked about why I like them outright on the spread. Also, gonna go with the Vikings up to 7.5 here, just because you kind of mentioned it. They've been in one possession games all season long, so I think Dallas is the right side, but not expecting Minnesota to go in here and get blown out necessarily just based on the way they're playing. They always find a way to stick around.